You are listening to Viewpoints from PlaceCloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
It was here, not far off Euston Road, on the corner of Judd Street and Hastings Street, where the RNIB is today, that a new retailer opened up shop in 1911. This was, however, no ordinary retailer. This was the grand new trade headquarters of the Salvation Army. Their trading department had been up and running for over a quarter of a century by this point, but not without receiving a fair amount of criticism. In the eyes of many, business was surely a distraction from their spiritual and social missions, and the high cost of their goods and the savvy way they were advertised seemed to be proof of this. But for others, buying from the Salvation Army was a way of showing their support, retail as fundraising, a means of helping to roll the old chariot along. High cost but also high quality could be seen as a way of encouraging wise spending, avoiding the false economies of cheap products that never last, and knowing that those products have been made by fellow Salvationists, well, that might also be a reason for shopping with the Salvation Army. From an entrance on the corner, customers would enter a vestibule with showrooms for each of the departments ahead of them, but they could also go upstairs for a guided tour of the workshops for many of those departments. In the past, the workshops, the warehouses, and the showrooms had been scattered all across London, but now they were mostly brought together, and they promoted it as a form of sightseeing, not only to come and buy the finished product, but also to see it being made. So when today's high street retailers talk about the experience economy as a new idea, in some respects this was happening here over a century ago. You could come and try out the trombones or violins or drums before buying one, perhaps ready to play in a Salvation Army band. You could see the bonnet making, dressmaking, and tailoring workrooms in action before buying a uniform. And the traditional blood and fire uniform was still proving popular when this site opened, as they noted in their trade journal, a mix of news, discussion, and catalogue which I've been looking at in their archive. In this, they said, "The fact that we have sent out from the trade headquarters within 3 months over 5,500 bonnets to our customers is in itself an answer to the pessimists' mistaken notion that the women of the army are now too respectable to wear the Hallelujah bonnet." But not everything they sold was so obviously relevant to kitting people out for living a good and active Salvationist life. In fact, historians like Sarah Roddy have seen the trade department as operating what was in effect a modern department store. Much of that was a mail-order operation, but these were its headquarters and showrooms. The Salvationist rationale was clear in the sale of writings and phonograph recordings of the Salvation Army's founder, the General William Booth, along with the talking machines to listen to them on. They advertised the bicycles they sold as helping their field officers visit twice as many homes as those on foot. The Triumph sewing machines they sold might perhaps be used to repair a uniform, and the general's portrait or the novelty clock they sold, which played an army chorus every hour, might serve as some kind of reminder. But it's harder to extend this Salvationist rationale to the sale of underwear and hot water bottles, razors and scissors, teddy bears, rocking horses, mincers, sugar bowls and steamers, wardrobes, adjustable chairs, slippers, or a trouser press. There had been an ethical consumerism dimension to their safety matches, produced and sold in the 1890s as an alternative for those who were shocked by the scandal of Phosphijor, where the young women working in the match factories were exposed to phosphorus with awful effects. If Booth's writings drew attention to the social problems of what he called Darkest England and offered the way out, then these Darkest England matches would light the way. But coming to the trade showrooms here was clearly supposed to be not just ethical, but an enjoyable experience. You could go downstairs to the restaurant in the basement, where, the Trade Journal informed its readers, You could enjoy the luxury of a cup of missionary tea with other light refreshments, and where dinners would also be provided at moderate charges for comrades who are visiting the trade. And they certainly talked up visiting the trade as a London attraction. Among places of interest to visitors, Salvationists of course, we have always included the trade headquarters, and not a few have made it a place of call, not only from outlying suburbs, from the towns and villages of this country, but also from a good many countries spread all over the world. It is, therefore, by no means a misnomer to say that the trade headquarters is, they said, the shopping centre of the Salvationist world.